Buon pomeriggio and welcome. As you will know if you watched any of my other videos, I love to experiment new things in the kitchen, especially with Italian and Sicilian food. In an exchange of messages with one of my subscribers, Steven. Hi Steven, I hope you're doing okay. He mentioned breadcrumbs and how widely they're used in Sicilian cooking, and he's absolutely right. It's actually a staple ingredient in a lot of Sicilian dishes, but in fairness also Italian cooking, but specifically southern Italy. So I've decided today to dedicate this video to breadcrumbs, and I will be doing a mixture of breadcrumbs which is slightly different to normal, as I will be using some hazelnuts as well, but I will be coating in breadcrumbs some sausages, some peppers, also some onions, and what else have I got? And mushrooms. So let's get started and let's see what happens. And the breadcrumbs is exactly where I'll start from. I'll start by putting these are tablespoons of breadcrumbs in a little food mixer. Today I will be adding a generous amount of parsley to it. This is fresh parsley, by the way, and a couple of leaves of sage, followed by a couple of cloves of garlic. One is large and one is medium. Quantities to taste, really. The same applies to the amount of parsley or other ingredients. I like garlic, I like parsley, so I'm quite generous with it. Before I forget, I'll put some salt in there, a little pepper. Again, the amount of salt and pepper to taste, entirely up to you how much you put in, or you don't have to put any. And as a change, I will be adding a small handful of hazelnuts to my mix. The reason why I'm using hazelnuts is because I'll be doing quite a lot of mushrooms, and I think the blend of the hazelnuts with the mushrooms is going to be a lovely combination together. I think I need to get myself a new food mixer. This is driving me mad. There you go, and I'll mix it together. Let's take a look. Lovely. Strong in garlic and parsley, but also I can taste the hazelnuts. And I'll move everything into a bowl. I'm using a large bowl because it's going to be easier for me to mix all of the ingredients later, you will see. Another ingredient which goes really well with breadcrumbs and parsley, especially, and garlic, is Parmesan cheese. Again, quantities to taste. I will be using 4 tablespoons of, actually I call them tablespoons, they're dessert spoons of Parmesan cheese, approximately 40 grams in weight. And I give it everything a good mix. I could have added the Parmesan when I mixed it all together, but I've only got a small mixer, so I decided to leave it for later. So this is ready, and I'll show you what to do next. Couple of eggs in a bowl. And I'll give them a good whisk with my fork. New bowl, and I'll add maybe a couple of large spoons of flour. And I'll start with the mushrooms. These are labeled as King Ostia mushrooms. And if you look, they are quite flat on the top, and they look very nice. And they're quite nutty as well. That's why I'm using the hazelnuts. But if you can find the large flat mushrooms, even better. But on the other hand, if you cannot get hold of either, and you want to use normal mushrooms like champignons, even the small ones will be fine, but chop them quite finely, because you want the surface to be covered by breadcrumbs, I'm sorry. So this is going to be my first starting point. I'll move half into my flour, and you can see why I've gone for a large bowl, so I don't make a mess. I'll make sure that I shake any excess flour, and I will move them into the egg. Although the temptation is to get my hands in there, I'm going to use a fork today to see if I can keep my hands clean. And I'm trying to cover them with my egg. And as you might have already guessed, they're going in with the breadcrumbs next. And that is the beauty of using a large bowl. I can mix them all together without the worry of losing half of my breadcrumbs on the worktop. And just like I did with the flour, I am shaking off any excess breadcrumbs and moving them onto an oven dish. And here they are. I've also finished the second batch, and actually I moved them into a larger oven dish because they were a little bit overcrowded and I didn't want them to be on top of one another. So like this they will cook better. Also I ran out of egg more or less, so I'm going to add another egg. And I'll give, oops, there's a piece of mushroom here. And I'll give it another little mix. And likewise, as the level of breadcrumbs was beginning to reduce, I've added a further dessert spoon of breadcrumbs and also another dessert spoon of Parmesan cheese to make sure that I've got enough for the remaining ingredients. And I just moved on to the peppers. These are small bell peppers, and They were very cheap to buy. They were about 10 in a bag. So we thought actually for things like that, they're ideal. I don't need very large peppers. So I've actually just removed the seeds and I'll chop them in half. And I will end up with something which is about, I don't know, 1.5 inches by a couple of inches. As I go through them, I'm also removing any white bits because they're quite bitter to taste and difficult to digest. And I'll follow exactly the same process I did with the mushrooms. I'll move them into the flour first and I'll mix them up, shaking off any excess flour and moving them to the eggs. Schoolboy error, the bowl is a little bit small and I should have actually split them into batches, but I'm done now anyway. And the breadcrumbs, but this time I'll do them in 2 batches. And I'm now placing them in my oven dish. I'm happy to overlap the peppers because they will release quite a lot of water and I don't think it'll matter very much. And also I'll be adding the sausages in there as well in a minute. Talking of which, here they are, the sausages. I will be using these chunky sausages. They are some of our favorites because they got fennel and chili inside, and fennel is a key ingredient used in sausages in Sicily, so they do remind me of home. However, as I'm experimenting today in the kitchen, I've decided to do something slightly different, and I've got a couple of sausages where I'm removing the skin here, that's the second one, and a couple of sausages I'll leave them with the skin on. It will be interesting to see how the intensity of the taste from the breadcrumbs will change between the 2 different types. I'm guessing that the ones without the skin will have more adhesion against the breadcrumbs, so they will be more flavorful, but let's try. So I'll deal with the ones with the skin first. Shake off in the egg. I've given up on using the spoon with the sausages, of course, and in the breadcrumbs. Actually, I'm quite surprised because they've retained quite a lot of the breadcrumbs, as you can see. I'll move my pepper so that I get some space, and I will place my sausages inside it. And I'm going to have to be a little bit more gentle with these ones because clearly there is nothing holding them together anymore. I just hope that they do not go splash when they cook in the oven. We'll see. In the egg and the breadcrumbs. However, although the other ones they didn't look too bad at all, I can see that there are more breadcrumbs covering these sausages. And here is the other one. I mentioned onion at the beginning of this video, and I'm now peeling a medium-sized red onion. Again, you can use a white one if you like. I'm chopping it into 4 pieces, and I will be positioning it wherever I can find a little space in between the sausages and the peppers. Also, I mentioned tomatoes at the beginning, and this is a tomato from our garden. Julie gave it to me this morning, and I do not have any more space in the other dish, so I decided to plot it here with the mushrooms, and I should be fine. And I'll just put it in as it is. I'm not going to be doing anything clever to it. But as well as adding some color to the dish, the tomato with its acidity will provide some balance with the sweetness of all of the other ingredients, especially the peppers, and coming to that, the mushrooms, because they're going to be quite nutty, so it will be a good combo to try. One very last, very Sicilian thing to do, of course, is to add a little drizzle of olive oil, and I'll do that on everything, including the sausages. And I will pop this now in the oven. I like to cook things at 180 degrees. Mine is a fan assisted oven. I suspect if you've got a normal oven, you could also try a 180 or 190, but do not have it too high because the mushrooms could burn. But I will leave them most probably for a good 40 to 45 minutes, but I'll keep an eye on them. And once they're ready, I'll let you know how long they cooked for. So see you in about 45 to 50 minutes, hopefully. Ciao, ciao. Now, while we wait, if this is your first visit to my channel and you like what you're seeing, visit the channel. There are lots and lots of Italian recipes with a heavy emphasis on Sicily and Sicilian cooking. If you are already a visitor of the channel, you've been here before, subscribe. I've noticed that over 75% of people who watch my recipes are not subscribed to the channel. It will not cost you a penny, and it will always be free, that is for certain. But also by subscribing, it will help me because you will help me grow the channel, because clearly YouTube will promote my videos more and more, and will enable me to reach more people and hopefully share some great Italian cooking. And by subscribing, then you can also click the bell if you like. It's a bit annoying sometimes, so entirely up to you, but by doing so, as soon as one of my recipes is out, you will be notified. And So there you go. A little appeal. Thank you. And as planned, exactly 45 minutes, 180 degrees, and they're perfect. By the way, what I did 10 minutes before, so after 35 minutes, I turned everything around to ensure that everything is brown all over and they're just perfect. And I'm going to dish everything up next. I'll start with my little tomato. I'll put him in the middle of my plate. By the way, with the sausages, what I did, before I put them in the oven, the ones without the skin, I put them at the bottom because I then realized that as there was nothing holding them together, best for them to cook at the bottom of my oven dish. Of course, if you got a big oven dish, it doesn't matter. But if you look, they're at the bottom of the dish now. They're the longer ones. I think they're longer because obviously they must have expanded.
Why have they got no skins on?
Because I wanted to do different types.
Ah.
I'm trying to get a little bit creative with my dishing. I'm not sure how well it's going to look. We've had a little play and decided this is the best position of the sausages. The mushrooms, they sound really crispy and they are quite lovely. The smell in the house is amazing. So my dish is complete. I'm now drizzling a little olive oil all over everything. Mostly the mushrooms though, and the peppers. And I'll finish with a tiny little amount of pepper to just garnish on the very top. As usual, Julie has been munching already and she tells me that everything is wonderful except the sausages. She hasn't tried the sausages.
No, lovely mushrooms though.
Not mushrooms. So I'm going to try, I'll try a sausage first and I'm going to go for the skinless one. That is really nice. The nuts, actually, funny enough, the hazelnuts are quite a nice addition to the breadcrumbs. Lovely, rolling and crunchy as well. And I'll also go for a mushroom because the mushrooms is what gave me the idea to make these. And then I'll go. Crunchy. Oh, they're really good. The mushrooms themselves are quite nutty anyway, but the addition of the hazelnuts has given a different taste altogether, and that is what I can taste immediately. And it's really, really, really good. If you don't like hazelnuts, because hazelnuts have got quite a distinctive flavor, by the way, you could try with almonds. It would be a little bit calmer in terms of taste. If you don't like almonds, you could try with cashew nuts, although cashew nuts are a little bit milder, even milder. If you don't like cashew nuts either, I wouldn't bother with any nuts, because quite clearly you don't like nuts, but still make it without any nuts because it's really delicious. And I have to try a piece of pepper. I cannot just go without the pepper. I'm gonna get maybe half of these. These peppers are delicious with breadcrumbs. And these are no exception. They are still crunchy actually. Although they cooked for 45 minutes, they retain their crunchiness. So it's a lovely combination. The only one thing I will not try is the tomato, because we all know what tomatoes taste like. Thank you very much. And I hope you make it. And if you do make it, even if you make a variation of it, post some pictures in my Facebook community page, or just put some comments on what you have done. I would be really interested to see how it turns out for you. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening. Bye.